I think our racers will be starting very soon. Always interesting to see what kind of openings they're going for.
And we see Amatsu checking Link's house and immediately saving and quitting, but Chops is going to be getting the map.
And Amatsu following suit with the map. Just like Chops is going for the Kakariko route. Pretty much like in standard.
Yeah, a little bit early for the Kakariko route. Haven't done a whole lot to get any rupees to make routing through here and getting the bomb locations any easier, but certainly one of the first locations you want to check as soon as you can. Amatsu opting to, I guess he wasn't going to kill the soldier.
Just throwing bushes at him. Already have. Oh.
Bug net. Aghanim required, ladies and gentlemen.
Get botnet to beat Aganim. That's a cycle, right?
Yes, that's not actually required, but it would be awesome.
Well, it looks like our racers are getting a bit lucky there, finding the bombs. It's always nice to find them before going to Kakariko.
And Chops is doing the standard route. He managed to pull a few bombs. Oh, and
look.
Amatsu. That's about the best you can get.
Yeah. And with just one enemy kill.
Chops is going to be upset with himself that he didn't try that tree pull, unfortunately. Meanwhile, clearing out Thieves' Hut with not a ton here so far.
Nope, nothing interesting. Well, at least he's got all the bombs he needs for the village. Maybe he will find more.
Well, I think that's his hope right now, so he doesn't have to spend any rupees to buy any. He didn't go out of his way to farm any rupees, so it's going to be between what he finds in Kakariko to help finance everything else he has to do.
And we must also consider that he wants to pay that bottle guy 100 rupees to get whatever he sells.
I think he's going to hope to get the rest of it here. He'll be able to get a few rupees here to be able to get those 100. Oh, but there's 300. Well. He won't have to worry about it.
That's more than enough.
Well, never mind. He's just going to be able to pay everyone off and pulls the hammer.
Awesome. He could even go and check Zora right now, which is very early in the game.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit early. It would be a sequence break if they fake flippered over to get Zora right at the moment, so I doubt they'll head that way at the moment. Still waiting for some sort of lift upgrade or the flippers to be able to get there without breaking sequence.
Yeah, definitely. But sequence breaks are interesting because they give you hints on when you get required items out of them. They give you hints about where is the item to get there, or where it cannot be.
Yeah, Wadika's asking You can always walk to Zora, but it is blocked by a lift in order to get through certain parts. So you do need at least one of the lift upgrades to be able to get there.
Yeah, it's either a lift upgrade or the flippers.
Meanwhile, we're going to check the library here, see what we have. Other than Hammer, not really a ton going on in Kakariko Village, is there?
They got rich and got a hammer, but that's all. The race game.
Yep. Amatsu is taking a risk. He didn't find enough in Kakariko, so he's hoping odds are that something's in the race game, and he's going to be a little bit disappointed here.
I wonder if he's gonna get that red rupee, considering how rich he is already. Because in most games, I would have took that red rupee if I went through the race game in any way, just to amass enough money for Zora.
And Amatsu is trying to figure out what he wants to do, kind of wandering around, saves and quits. Chops is going to go talk to your uncle and get this first early part of escape done. Dolphin pointing out, Hammer isn't progression right now, which is technically true. You need a couple more items before Hammer becomes progression, but more importantly than anything, it's a weapon, and it makes doing things like...
Weapon.
Yeah, a very good one. And it makes things like doing the mini Moldorm cave a lot easier than relying on bombs.
I think he's going for escape with the hammer. It's interesting.
It always confused me why those soldiers never walked up the stairs. At all. Like, come on, guys, I know you can do it.
Obviously, they're assigned to their floors. They can't go upstairs. And sometimes they hide in bushes just because.
Imagine having to explain that to your boss later. It's like, why didn't you stop the intruder coming into the castle? Well, boss, he walked up some stairs and, I couldn't really do anything.
It was a job of that soldier upstairs.
I chased him. I did my job.
We're not bad enough.
All right, and both runners are kind of mirroring each other at this point, both making their way through escape. We'll see what the Zelda chest and this other chest that Chops is getting ready to open hold.
Yeah, very similar routes. We're pretty much identical so far. And not getting much out of the Hyrule Castle.
Nope, nothing so far. So, Ninban, where would you check after this particular location?
I think I would try to go through the back part of escape, even without the lamp. Just in case, like, the glove upgrade is locked behind the back part, and the lamp is somewhere easy like the dam or mini Moldorm.
Yeah, I think from my perspective, I would check the dam and mini Moldorm. I might even try to route in Agina's cave, because that seemed to have some outsized value, at least in my experiences. But I don't know.
Yeah, with the thing I just said, I considered having the mirror. Since I don't have the mirror and I have to save and quit, I think that dam and mini Moldorm is better.
New Life asking, they're new here, who do you root for? If you're new here, here's the facts of life here. in the randomizer community. You root for a really, really trolly seed that makes this stretch out as long as you can, because just from sheer odds, every trolley seed that someone else plays is one less possibility you get to play the trolley seed.
Well, statistically, you could always have the same seed, but let's not go in there.
Logic has no place here.
And so far, not getting many good items.
None so far. We'll see Chops head over here and check out Mini Moldorm Cave. We'll see if Amatsu follows suit.
Will this be the new hype cave of this seed?
Certainly feels like it, doesn't it?
Going for hammer strats from the bottom is a little hard.
A little bit. Shout out to Hacksaw in the group. Hacksaw is also part of the secondary group P, and I need to apologize to chat. I was corrected. If ChopsDiezel wins and sets up a three-way tie, there is going to be a three-way race for the final seed coming out of this group. So, Hacksaw, just a quick question for you. Who are you rooting for? Are you rooting for a three-way, or you want it to be kind of the tiebreaker between you two right now?
Beater is also with us in the chat, so we have all the group P in here. Well, at least those who will maybe go for the three-way. Oh yeah, Raspberry Flu, so all the group P is here.
All of Group P. Shout out to Group P, representing and supporting one another. That's how you guys do it.
Yeah. It looks like we got a moon pearl in the Mini Moldorm cave. And unfortunately, while we were talking, Chops died in the cave and had to go back.
Yeah, that's the problem with having the hammer. If you're not comfortable with the hammer, it has kind of a weird hitbox depending on where you stand in the positioning. So you have to play around with it a bit.
That dodge by the Mini Moldorm going down, that was something.
So Matsu routing in over the Ice Rod Cave, which can have literally anything in it. It doesn't have any requirements to get through to it. Both of these runners are still going through all the different caves that have no requirements for anything to unlock. So.
Will we finally see a progression item? No.
That's unfortunate. There's still a few locations they can check. Akina's Cave, and then they have all of Eastern Palace, including Sahasrara Rosha's hut.
I think Amatsu is going for that hut.
Statistically, it's the higher percentage play, absolutely. And you can route Eastern together. I like this play by Amatsu.
Also, we didn't get a map check yet. I hope someone will check it soon.
Oh, and we have our map chat 4, 6, and 5. So 5 and 6 are in the light world in Tower of Hera and Desert. Whoa!
And Amatsu got the gloves and the Somalia cane.
Sahasrara with the goods!
Yeah. But this could be a very fast seed with all 3 crystals in the light world. Because these are the fastest dungeons.
Absolutely. I think they're going to be excited to see what kind of dungeons they may be able to just outright skip. For example, the dreaded Misery Mire, which I don't know a ton of runners who actually enjoy Mire.
I enjoy it.
Well, thank you for contradicting me on live TV. Don't you know the kids are watching Ninban?
Finally, some route divergence.
Yep, while Amatsu goes ahead and dives into Eastern, it looks like Chops is going to be heading, because with the glove, hammer, and moon pearl, he'll have Dark World access. So he'll go ahead and check the back half of Eastern. I'm hoping he takes an early dive into the Dark World myself.
But sometimes early Eastern Palace is also a good play. That's why I guess Chops want to find the bow before that.
Yeah, it can come down to a routing decision, and just like all of Randomizer, it's a gamble. You know, is it going to be a good gamble or a bad one? We'll see. Amatsu working his way through Eastern while Chops is going somewhere.
I think he's going for the Hype Cave.
Oh, yes. Hype Cave. We're going to have
Yes.
a sub 20-minute Hype Cave. I'm down with that.
Yep. That's very exciting.
So, Chad, as we're heading to Hype Cave, let's give a quick prediction, if you can. What's going to be in Hype Cave? What do you think is going to be here, Nin?
I think the Titan Smiths. Just to troll a little bit more.
That would be interesting. We'll see. I'm kind of hoping for some progression items. I'd like to see the Fire Rod here, personally. Sankheart getting everything filled up there.
Another full heart, the bow.
All right, that was a reasonably hype cave.
Putting the bomb on the bow chest. But that puts the advantage on Chops because he will be able to full clear Eastern Palace right away.
Absolutely. I think I would still prefer to try to get, for example, the mirror before I head over there so I could route Pod and Eastern together. But not a bad play if he wants to go ahead and do that. Still waiting for the lamp, though. Without the lamp, it's technically a sequence break navigating these dark rooms like Amatsu is doing himself.
Yeah, I think he's going for it without the lamp.
Yeah, looks like he's heading that direction. Following the logic here, I mean, that's a pretty good call, all things considered. I'm a little bit worried about lampless in dark rooms, but it doesn't look like he is at all. And yes, to respond to you, Thalfin, we do have to ration our memes because, you know, we're only allotted a certain number of memes per call. So we're on kind of a memes diet, if you will.
Amatsu down to 1 heart. Let's see. There's a heart under there, so let's see. They can survive this room. Sometimes a bit tricky.
Goes ahead and has to do it the old school style. And for just the compass.
Meanwhile, Chops is going to be able to full complete the dungeon. Even though the back part, like the way leading to the boss, Dark Room is a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, it'll be interesting if Chops goes ahead and navigates the dark rooms. You know, I've not seen Chops or Amatsu run in the past, so I don't know how comfortable they are navigating the dark rooms. It looked like Amatsu struggled maybe a little bit there in some of those dark rooms, so we'll see what Chops decides to do. Amatsu now is going to head to this back part of Escape in the meantime.
You know what could be interesting too at this point is going to Pod.
Pod would be kind of an interesting call. I would be a little bit nervous about going to Pod without Lamp, because those dark rooms are a little bit more difficult, but Lamp could be there. With an early bow that's only really locked behind Dark World access, Pod becomes more valuable. And that is
Yeah.
something that I've talked about in a lot of the races with the bow logic that's in Pod.
Yeah, basically, I very rarely want to go in pod without the bow. But can be interesting. There's only maximum 3 chests locked behind the lamp, and that's the easier dark room. The one with the turtle room is a lot harder, but that's just for going for the boss. So in the worst case, I can leave it for later.
Yeah, I tend to think that at this point in time, even if you end up double dipping Pod, I think the logic is pointing you in that direction. Just because you have the bow, it seems to be a pretty solid play, all things considered. So I'd like to see someone head that direction. Chops is still navigating and did a fine job in those dark rooms. Amatsu is looks like he's going to Thieves Town.
Also a very good play, I think, between the 4 eye chests in there and some more in Skullwoods and the village.
Chops isn't backing out, so he's going to go ahead and navigate these dark rooms to clear out Eastern. Solid play if he can do it. Matsu, meanwhile, is going to head up to Skull Woods, where we've seen quite a bit of value here in this tournament from Skull Woods.
Definitely.
Anthony Blaylock asks, did Amatsu check Sick Kid? No, he just now got his first bottle, so he has not yet checked Sick Kid. Oh,
I think
Amatsu.
he just checked, yeah.
Yeah, Amatsu did. I'm sorry, Chops hasn't, so.
And I think... Oh, the lamp! Skullwoods.
That'll be important for these runners. Certainly.
I think Chops is having a little difficulty in this room right now. And the Cyclops hurt quite a bit.
And yeah, Chops unfortunately getting hit, and Amatsu is close. Don't die, we don't need double deaths.
Silent Tremor asking where was Green Mail, you start the game with it?
Amatsu taking a death from falling into a place. I'm not sure if that was an intentional death or not, just to reload hearts, just because he was getting pretty low on health. Chops looks like he's on his way over to check out Thieves Town and possibly Skull Woods, which will reward him. He wasn't able to navigate, so he's also going to be looking for that lamp, checking Sick Kid first before he goes. I believe it's just a bomb capacity upgrade if I watched Amatsu's screen right.
Yeah, I think too.
And the flute! Wow!
That's amazing. Immediately quitting to activate it.
Okay, so Amatsu finding all the value in Skull Woods, reminding everyone of the wonderful meme. If it's version 26 logic, do Skull Woods. Just do it early.
I agree with this. Just do Skullwoods. I was tracking for a race yesterday, where the hoodshot was in the back part of Skullwoods, before most people found their first bow, not their bow but their sword. So that was very valuable. And Holly.
So Chops, instead of going up to Skullwoods, he's going to go down to the Village of Outcasts and clear out the chests here. There's a higher density of items here, absolutely, but in this instance, it's going to end up taking him a little bit of time because the lamp and the flute are going to be high value items. Flute may not necessarily be required. We haven't had a map check yet.
Even if flute is not required, it's still a very good thing to activate, just for faster movement.
Did another bottle bite for Chops. Amatsu does get his swag duck going.
And I think he's going right back to the Dark World. Check the village and Thieves Town too.
We're at 25, almost 26 minutes in, and neither of these runners have yet to have a sword. There's our map check. Skullwoods, Turtle Rock, and Ice Palace are our pendants. So
Skullwoods is the green one.
Yep, so it might be value to head back there eventually, but right now Amatsu does not have to go back there if he just opens up his map. He has the 2 items there. Worth noting that the flute is going to end up being required because Misery Mire.
Also, do you know what pendant Turtle Rock means?
It means they're going to end up going to Turtle Rock.
Definitely. And Chops found his first sword.
Hey, congratulations to Chops. Having a sword, if you're going to be heading towards the blind fight, is a heck of a lot easier. Doing it with a hammer is certainly doable, but any sword makes it so much easier. Amatsu also clearing out overworld locations before in the Village of Outcasts, going to see where he will eventually go. We know that the bow is in Hype Cave, so the sooner that Amatsu heads down that way, the sooner he'll get another one of those mandatory items.
That was a very quick map check for Amatsu.
Yep, I believe he was just checking to see if Skullwoods was a pendant or a crystal to see if it was worth diving in right now. Can't blame him for checking that before committing to going into a dungeon to full clear it or not. So with Turtle Rock, Ice Palace, and Skullwoods, the pendants, what does that leave us for our possible pedestal hype, Ninban?
I believe there's still the medallion for Misery Mire. And the boots? Is there anything else?
Yeah, we'll have, I mean, the standard fetch quest items, boots, book could possibly be on there. Let's see. Mirror could be on there.
Interesting. And Chops just got his flippers in Thieves Town. Opening a bit more of the seed.
Yep, that's gonna be good. Other things, hook shot could be there, I believe, unless the logic in Ice Palace dictates that you have the hook shot. Fallen Prophet, no, the logic doesn't say you need book prepared. If you're going to just check it, you need the book, but if you can blind pedestal pull and totally get the book. We've seen it. And Vanilla Titans
Vanilla.
Mitt. What is it? Is this even
Wow.
rando?
We're not playing Randomizer. This is a regular ALTTP speedrun.
We're just way behind. Or way ahead, depending on your perspective.
I think we're way ahead. And Bumbo, so Deep Stone is having all the value tonight.
Yep. Sword, Bombos, Titans Mitt. Very, very impressive run so far here in Thieves Town. Also, Flippers, I forgot. Yeah. Thieves Town on its own opened up Ice Palace completely. Although there is a couple treasure chests in there that you need either the hookshot or an invincibility item. Otherwise, it's a quote-unquote sequence break. So careful with the logic there. There are certain things that can't be locked behind that.
Oh yeah, that... I never saw that come into play. These chests locked by hookshot or invincibility item in ice, but it's an interesting thing.
Something that could certainly come into play here at this point. Oh, and Chops hoping he doesn't get hit because that... Okay, there's his one heart. Come on.
Drinking his potion, that's good.
And Chops with his first kill, 31 minutes in. Only getting the map, but he is getting the first crystal of the match here.
And while we're watching that, Amatsu is following closely behind. He's going to bring the maiden, the fake blind, well, maiden or whatever, get his mitts.
Yeah, you see, what ended up happening is Link had a buddy who called him up and says, "Hey, let me set you up on this blind date with this chick in the basement." Get it? Blind date? Huh?
Yeah. Get it? And he just brings her to a room with light.
Brings her to a room with light with the full intent of killing her. Luckily, it's an enemy, but otherwise, Link is a monster. I'm getting booed. My job here is done. Matsu
okay.
doing his blind fight.
That's okay, we're just memeing.
Chops gonna save and quit since he's already checked Hype Cave, so he'll be able to see where else he's gonna go here. This will be interesting to see where he goes. I mean, we noted earlier that Ice Palace is completely opened. I would hesitate to go in there with just a fighter sword and green mail, but logic seems to be pointing him that direction, doesn't it?
Definitely, and I think if someone is confident in their Ice Palace play, this could definitely be a good one. Although it's a pendant, so I'm not sure I would go there just yet.
Oh, if it's a pendant, probably not. But meanwhile, we see Chops going to head over, and looks like he's going to make the play on Zora with the Waterfall Fairy. Solid play. He's got the rupees. 666. Awesome rupee count there, Chops. And he'll be able to check Waterfall Fairy and anything that's on the ledge.
It's unfortunate that he didn't go to Skull Woods after all, so he didn't get his lamp and the flute.
That is unfortunate. He could have quite a few items, for example, that he's waiting on before he heads over to back to Eastern, for example.
Yeah. And he could have just got to Zoroark much faster too.
Oh yes, much faster, I think. What's on the ledge? Just a 10 capacity bomb upgrade. Nothing in the digging game for Amatsu, of course. And here comes Zora. Is he going to give something decent or... Oh, the cape.
The cape. That's not really what you want, but it's okay too.
That's interesting. I mean, it really... I mean, it points to a couple different directions. It means that he could technically take care of Spike Cave once he has access to Death Mountain. Interestingly, the only thing that's blocking ChopsDiezel right now from going to Death Mountain, both is in Skull Woods. Either the lamp to be able to go up the Old Man Mountain route, or the flute to be able to flute your way up there. So, Chops, we know where you got to go. We just need you to go there.
Meanwhile, Amatsu is doing the long way of getting the Smith back home. Can be interesting if they have something good.
Yep. I like to call the blacksmith Jeremiah because Jeremiah was a bullfrog. He was a good friend of mine. And they just give you a big 20.
And they took 10 before that, so it's really giving out much.
Chops is getting bodied here. He is making the Skull Woods play, but kind of getting a hard time getting through here.
Yeah, that bumper was quite rolly.
A few frustration slashes. Ah, the lamp's there.
So now Pod is officially fully open for now, and he will also be able to complete Eastern Palace if he wants.
Matsu getting his map check in. Looks like he's going to be checking Hype Cave here directly, so he'll be getting the bow.
Now I wonder where Amatsu will go next.
Yep, they're both going to be caught up on items. Amatsu is going to actually have unlocked the flute, so he'll be a little bit ahead. We shall see.
Is he going for Pod right now?
He's heading that direction. Maybe. Yes, he might be.
Will he do a pyramid check before? No,
Nope,
he's
he's
going
heading.
straight. Go ahead.
I was literally going to say the exact same thing you said. So, Jinx. Yep, I have to agree. I like this play from Amatsu. He has everything he needs to clear out Pod if he so desires. Arrow, he has a sword, he has the hammer. Really nothing not to like about this particular play, especially since the sequence seems to point him in this direction with everything that he's gotten up to this point in time.
I agree with this. And you know what would be interesting to find here in Pod is the mirror, which is definitely possible since there's 5 chests in there.
And don't kill my mirror pedestal hype.
Oh yeah,
Why
that's
you gotta do that to me?
I forgot about it, sorry.
Okay, my ego can take it. Meanwhile, Chops is heading over to Desert. Doesn't have the book, so isn't able to head there, but going to do things like check a Gina, and then between the flute and the Titan's Mitt, we'll be able to check the shed for Misery Mire. Also be able to get the intelligence of what Misery Mire is required to open. So not a bad play from Chops either. Definitely following the logic. Meanwhile, Amatsu pulls the book in Pod.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Something he might need to find a mirror in Desert. Oh no, on the pedestal. Sorry. I'm just putting mirror
It's
everywhere.
okay. Well, the mirror is kind of an interesting item because it helps them navigate different things, so it would be really beneficial to them right now. So the idea of mirror being on the pedestal is just really appealing to me for some reason. I've also, in full disclosure to chat, here I'm going to check before. Oh, ether on, so vanilla medallion required there. I've never commented a pedestal match yet on either the main or the secondary tournament. And I counted, I've done 23 matches through this tournament so far. I want a pedestal seed.
I think you're due for one.
I
I've
think
commented,
so.
I've commented maybe 2 or 3 matches in the secondary tournament, and at least one of them was a pedestal, if I remember correctly. And I also played 2 pedestal seeds.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It feels like I'm due, so that's why I'm rooting so hard for that pedestal seed.
And
Chop's gonna, heading that back route.
is trying to find the rat holding the key.
So Chop's making his way through the back end of the sewer. Again, following the logic because the lamp was a little bit buried for him in the dark world. So it'll be interesting to see what he finds here.
Meanwhile, it seems Amatsu is going for the interesting part of Pod.
Absolutely. Our good friends like to call Pod the mullet dungeon because business is in the front, but the party's in the back.
Yeah, I've heard that one, and also it's the Palace of Keys.
That's fair.
But I like the mullet dungeon. And the hook shot.
And hook shot. Okay.
We have a party in the back.
Party! Man, that's the worst thing that you would want to be at a party with a guy with a mullet with the hook shot. Just saying,
my
get
God.
over here. So Matsu going here, and Chops looks like he's making the pod play. I mean, you know, we've seen Amatsu have a lot of the value here, so Chops it has a little bit of a disadvantage at this point in time. He's checked some of the other overworld locations. Some of them were relatively low percentage plays, but it's possible Amatsu will end up following him up. But right now, Amatsu with advantage at this point.
Getting a little lost in this maze. Well, for his sake, that's a maze. So it's normal.
So, other than hookshot, though, have we really seen a whole lot of importance here in Pod?
I don't think so, but did he check the big key chest?
He didn't?
Or maybe he was just too fast for me?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure, but he may also be counting items at this point in time to know that he's gotten all the items because it's got this and the boss. Yeah, he doesn't have the big key, that's why.
Oh, so I guess the big key is in that. But I think must have been a chest I didn't see him get.
Well, I don't know why he's going this way then, because you're getting ready to be sorely disappointed by not being able to open the big key door. So yeah, Amatsu has definitely missed a chest that the big key is in. That's unfortunate for Amatsu.
He has 2 keys, so I guess the one chest he missed is the one in the central part of the dungeon.
Yeah, I think that's the vanilla big key location. If you
Yep.
did not get that, ooh, there could be some significant items, and he's just wasting time at this point in time, unfortunately.
Chat saying he missed the key from the hole drop.
Yeah,
In the one
yep,
the basement.
yep. And it looks like that might be the one that Chops is heading for right now. So Amatsu figuring out he made a mistake, and also figuring out he doesn't have the mirror, so he can't back out. So Amatsu's going to have to save and quit.
That's evil. You can't even go back in the dungeon at this point.
Yep, and I think it's going to be in this vanilla location. Let's see. Yep, Chops ends up getting it. So Chops will be able to full clear this out. Meanwhile, Amatsu does end up getting the hook shot and wondering where he's going here.
Well, I personally think he's saving a pod for last. Or maybe he's just going back this way.
Oh, that's a possibility. Interesting pod routing, but not horrible.
Chops finally getting their book. And getting a little annoyed by these beetles.
These beetles are just swarming. I mean, they're some of the most annoying enemies in this game that just Luckily, he was able to knock the red one off. We see Amatsu making our first entrance into Death Mountain. Isn't that just a little bit weird for you? We're at 49 minutes in, and we are just now getting to one of the most dense item locations in the game in Death Mountain. Doesn't that just seem weird?
Yeah, I find it weird too, but given the items they got, I would expect that.
Yeah, I mean, I can certainly see the logic. They don't have the mirror, so the only items up until the hook shot that they would be able to get are, the check to see what's on Spectacle Rock, check to see what the old man has, which is a big 300. He's really happy you helped him out of that dark cave.
And very rich. And you were saying, sorry?
No, it's all right. It's just not a ton of options until you have the hook shot. Amatsu taking another death, unfortunately.
I think he has a fairy. Oh, maybe no.
So Chop's on his way through these dark rooms. It'll be interesting to see if there's something of real value here in the big treasure chest. Because if there is, it's going to spell bad news for Amatsu at this point in time, who had to skip it because he missed the big key entirely. Got all the way to the boss and forgot that he never got the big key. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and I don't think even when he does go back and get a big key, I don't think he will want to go back there, since it's a long way.
Yep, so this could be big for Amatsu. Oh,
Just the map.
the map. Chops looks like he was taking a death warp here to get back to the front. He's already cleared out all the other items. Yeah, you four no folks can just leave you at that. So Amatsu in Paradox Cave in the meantime. And he pulls silvers. Okay. That'll be handy. Fetch quest and half magic. So pretty hyped Paradox Cave there.
Finally, a good Paradox Cave.
Meanwhile, Chops working his way through and will be able to clear out Eastern Palace this time. There's still one item left on Helmasaur, so we'll see what the last item is. Meanwhile, Amatsu climbing Death Mountain will be able to go to Tower of Hera, which is one of the 5-6 crystals as well. Tagraneth asked, why do we call that one Paradox Cave? And yes, it's primarily because of the weird placement of, 2 ground level caves and 1 ground level cave dropping down into another ground level cave, and it's weird.
And also, if you want to laugh, just look at how small amount of stairs Ling has to climb in that cave, and how much that represents, like, in the real overworld. Like, if you put stairs to go up, there's a lot of them that can fit.
Yep. Chops is getting kind of bodied by these terror pins.
Well, they're not terror pins for nothing.
Matsu working his way slowly through this Tower of Hera section. Chops still getting bodied a little bit here. And that is about the most well-timed fairy I think I've ever seen. Down to 2.5 hearts before Helmasaur gets a really lucky, for lack of a better term, drop with that fairy.
A very clutch fairy. Very welcome too. Giatanol asking where the cane was. It was in Shahashwala blah blah as hut.
Yeah, Sahasrahla had all the goodies. He had the cane and he had the moon pearl, was it?
I think it was the gloves.
Oh, the gloves, right. He had 2 pretty significant upgrades.
Amatsu got the boomerang from the Hera big chest.
Bloomerang, the best boomerang, so I'm told. I prefer the Redarang myself, but whatever. And Chops taking a death to a fireball in the face.
Oh no. And he was almost done with the boss too.
We'll see if he ends up heading back that way. It's going to be a bit of a slog. Meanwhile, Amatsu getting trolled by Trolldorm.
So he's fighting Moldorm a little bit safer. Just hope it doesn't get bodied.
Yep, keeping your sword held out tends to keep a little bit more balance there, especially closer to the edges. So Chops also heading up Death Mountain, saying, I'm going to wait until I have maybe a better opportunity, a better sword or something. And if he ends up checking this location completely, he'll be rewarded with silvers, which would make a lot quicker work of Helmasaur once he gets back there.
And Moldorm is dead with one heart. That was a tense fight for Amatsu.
And the key. So I didn't count items. There's only 2. We know we had 1. Is the last item in the basement?
I think so. I know they avoided the basement item. So maybe it was just a comparse of the map.
Chops getting dead rocked there.
Maximum health increased. Yeah! That's what the tablet was saying.
Oh, second was a red rupee, is what Pyrelight is saying. Shout out to Pyrelight. Also, while we're here, I've been negligent in my duties as commentator. I need to give a shout out to our wonderful tracker, BBB Kermit. Hi, how's it going there, Kermit? I'm glad that you could be with us today. Also, Alvi, our wonderful restreamer. Alvi wants a cool voice. Let's see what else do I have in my repertoire for a voice for Alvi.
Meanwhile, Chops just got all the loot in the Paradise Cave. So Sivers, Mushroom, and Half Magic.
Amatsu doing Dark World right at the moment, so going to be checking Super Bunny Cave and Hookshot Cave, because he will be able to do that at the moment.
And he missed the hookshot clip there. It's a little bit hard to get sometimes. I mostly just do it on instinct myself.
I try to avoid it until I possibly have the mirror myself, so I don't even have to worry about hookshotting it. Magic Powder and Blue Mail finally for Amatsu, so we'll be able to take a few more hits. Both of these runners looking like they've taken more damage than most other runners, so following the patented Vitasia playstyle of get hit in the face.
Yep, that will definitely help them. I don't know why, but it seems that location, Dark World, always seems to have some good items there.
Meanwhile, Amatsu's clearing out Hookshot Cave. So far, not a ton. And Chops is going to follow him, and boots in Hookshot Cave.
Wow. In the bunkable chest, of all things.
Yeah, that's really interesting logic, because that's the one chest that Boots can access if you don't have the hookshot. An ether. Okay, so a double ether open. Amatsu saving and quitting. He ended up getting quite a few fetch quests between the mushroom and the powder, so it'll be interesting to see where Amatsu ends up going from here.
I think I would go and load off the mushroom first. And the witch.
Yeah, you got the flute. Might as well do it. But instead, Amatsu's going to be heading over, checking the Meyer shed or desert. Now, the last time that Chops came over here, he didn't have the book for desert. So Amatsu will be able to open desert and maybe check out what the other two items will be here.
Chops also getting his boot. It was a boot time.
Well done. I approve of that pun. And there's the ether.
So Mr. Meyer is now opened completely.
And it's a good thing they got the boots before coming in here to desert, because that key would have made it required. Chops is going to make a routing choice over here to do Spike Cave. He's got the cape, he's got the hammer, so certainly clearable. This could be pretty decisive for Chops if there ends up being something here, because Amatsu we never even saw think about walking this direction.
Yep.
But it's just an arrow capacity upgrade, so Chops will save and quit out of here.
So yeah, let's look at what items are required right now that we don't have yet. Is the fire rod? No, the fire rod is not required, since Skullwoods is a pendant, and Turtle Rock too.
Yeah, I'm going through here, and I mean, as with the book, okay, we can clear Eastern Palace, we can clear Desert, we can get Tower of Hera, we can do Pod. Swamp.
We need the mirror.
Yeah, we need the mirror to get to Swamp. Skullwoods. Yeah. Yeah.
And after that, it's just the Master Sword. Because they need the Master Sword to hurt Ganon.
Yeah, but they can pick that up kind of along the way. So, interesting to note, every crystal dungeon can be cleared right now except Swamp Palace. And Amatsu's in Desert, so we'll see if they end up... Well, Chops is following him right now. Interesting, because Amatsu's already cleared Tower of Hera. Chops wasn't able to go there because he opted to go right to Dark World. This is going to be interesting. This is going to be close either way. Fallen Prophet, no, Pedestal is not dead. If they find Fire Rod and Ice Rod at some point in time, that opens up Turtle Rock. They can already clear out Ice Palace and Skull, and then they would be able to do Skull Woods as well. What these runners don't want to see is Fire Rod before Mirror. If they get Fire Rod before Mirror, that might point them in the direction of a Pedestal Seed where Mirror would be on it.
Or maybe something like Master Sword, Vanilla Master Sword, and both sword upgrades on tablets, although that's not possible. Because the Ether tablet is already known to be a hard container.
Yeah, this could be interesting, and we didn't find anything of value on Land Molest, so Amatsu going to go over here to check Agina, not going to find a whole lot of anything. This could be it, but there's still a lot of dungeons that they could check before that's even a possibility. In the meantime, Chop's working his way through Desert Palace. It's a pretty quick dungeon, all things considered. Amatsu fluting away. We'll see where he ends up going.
Looks like he's going to Misery Mire.
That's an interesting call. It's a pendant. It's a crystal dungeon.
Although, you know what? I think I would have stopped by the witch and gave her mushroom before, and go from that to buy not bombs but potions before going in Mire.
Absolutely. I'm of the opinion that I'm not confident in a lot of these later dungeons, Mire, Turtle Rock, Ice Palace. I want as much protection as I can possibly get. You have the money. You're rolling in dough right now. Get some blue potions.
Yep. Fallen Prophet asking if they checked Catfish yet. I think one of them did.
Yep, we did have a catfish check, and it was a whole lot of nothing. And Amatsu is going to go ahead and go into Mire, following the logic, getting that ether medallion in Desert and saying, yep, I'm going there. Pyrolite makes a good point. Silvers make for pretty good protection on things like, Vitreous.
Definitely good protection. You know when they say offense is the best defense? That fight with silvers is the definition of that.
Absolutely. If you can kill all the eyeballs off so quickly that he just doesn't get a lightning bolt off, seems fine to me. Meanwhile, Chops ends up with the crystal. We'll see what Chops ends up doing. Already checked some of the overworld locations, so we'll see if he follows Amatsu into Misery Mire. He's already checked Shed, or if he ends up opting to go elsewhere.
I think Amatsu forgot he had boots because he's not using them at all, which is a little bit unfortunate.
So Chops is picking up potions and picked up what looks like what the mushroom item was, but I didn't see what it was, if it was anything.
It was the blue cane, or the burner cane.
Second best cane in the game. Matsu taking a death in Misery Mire and then going ahead and going back. Chops, meanwhile, going to go into Eastern again from the looks of it. Gonna finish that off for another crystal. I think if I were Chops, I would prefer to start with Pod, because if for whatever reason Helmasaur ends up dropping the mirror, then you could mirror right out and do Eastern right there.
Yeah, and I think I would rather go in entirely different dungeons, like Amatsu is doing with Meyer. Because it's a long way just to go back for the boss.
That's fair. I mean, I don't think doing these two dungeons, you've already cleared them both out, and you have. It's not. Go mode is not going to be any faster at this point, so you can just clear them out as fast as you can.
Yeah, that's that too. I think I agree with you.
Amatsu not finding too much of value up to this point in Mire, is being kind of trolled. Still no ice or fire rod. This is really kind of interesting.
We need our pedestal dream.
Hey, I'm pushing for it. You know I've been pushing for it. It is interesting. Amatsu does have both crystals 5 and 6, so he can go check Pyramid Fairy anytime he wants. Matsu gets his bathroom break going, though. Chops is starting his Eastern Armos Knights fight.
Hey, hi, Armos Knights. Bye, Armos Knights.
Just $20. So disappointing.
Also a very easy fight with the silver arrows.
Shout out to Chaos Lord 2 in chat. Dual Rod Turtle Rock into pedestal progression. Prayer. It never ceases to amaze me how imaginative and downright cruel members of our community can be when we're not the ones running the seeds.
Yeah, that's amazing. Let me just read that from Chaos Lord 2. So a dual rod the T-Rock into mirror on pedestal, into the Master Sword and Mimic Cave, with both other sword upgrades on Bombos and Ganon's Tower.
And Amatsu just killed your dream by picking up Master Sword in the big treasure chest. Chaos Lord, that's why we never verbalize these sorts of things. This is true. I'm still pretty cruel because I want pedestal mirror. But the hype is still alive for mine.
Yep. One item from Go mode is the mirror.
That is absolutely true. Mirror is the only item we're missing for Go mode for both of these players. But we're hoping. We are hoping. Matsu taking a death as he's navigating his way down through Misery Mire, unfortunately. Yeah, it is worth noting, Alvi brings up a good point, that the Fire Rod kind of has a limited possibility of being in Turtle Rock because of those first couple rooms that require your Fire Rod to get through them. And
Yeah, I think he's also saying that Fire Rod can be a required item if the Ganon's Tower big key is on the right side.
True, absolutely. And ChopsDiezel finally gets his vengeance on Helmasaur. Another kill. So Chops will have 4 crystals to Amatsu's 3. But the ones that Amatsu's checking more chests, so that's the difference.
And hopefully soon a fourth crystal.
So Chops saving and quitting. We'll see where Chops ends up going next. He has Tower of Hera and Misery Mire are the 2 crystal dungeons he can still do. Amatsu, once he gets Misery Mire, will have Eastern Palace and Pod that he'll be able to do. But we still have Skullwoods is still an option. It's the green pendant, but you need the Fire Rod to be able to clear it out. Ice Palace might be a play because they can get through with Bombos. Turtle Rock as well might be a play, although without Fire Rod, they don't know quite how far they can get depending on the logic. So it'll be interesting. And Chops making the play from Misery Mire.
And Amatsu getting a very quick clean out of Vitreous, although he got a lightning bolt.
Just $300.
Also, yeah, Turtle Rock is a very interesting gamble at this point without the Fire Rod, because depending on the key locations, you can be blocked at literally the first chest, or you can go all the way to the laser bridge.
Matsu looks like he is going to be heading directly for that Pyramid Fairy. So we get some Pyramid Fairy hype. What are we going to see? I think I'd like to see both the rods for the Pyramid Fairy myself.
That would be amazing.
It would be absolutely amazing, and I would so look forward to it. Because at this point in time, if you get both the rods, I would be making a beeline right for that pedestal to check to see what's in there.
Oh yeah, definitely, and maybe do Skullwoods right after, since it's much faster than going all the way to Turtle Rock.
Absolutely. At least you'll be able to check Sahasrama.
Yeah, also, so that's 3 quicker items against 5. I think that's a good gamble. Well, not 3. They already got both items in there, I think.
Yep, that was the lamp
Yeah.
and the flute. So
So-
Amatsu getting ready to check Paula Deen Fairy here. Just a little love.
Half a heart from the fairy.
And a full heart over here on the ledge on the pyramid. I think this is our first pyramid check even throughout it all.
Yep. So we had one heart and a half from the pyramid. Should we recall it the Pyramid of Love?
That's got to be a song of some sort, but I fail to remember it.
Yeah, me too.
Chaos Lord. Shout out for the pun. What a half-hearted check. LOL.
Wow.
So it's interesting. Between these two runners, they've checked all the dungeons at this point in time, all the major locations that they can check, except
nice.
for Turtle Rock and Ice Palace. So, still looking for that mirror. The first one to dive into one of those, I think, is going to be rewarded. And Falfin makes a huge point here in chat. Thieves Town had 3 items required to do Ice Palace. It had the Titansmith, it had the Flippers, and it had Bombos. It also had your first sword. So it's pointing a gigantic beacon towards Ice Palace that neither of these runners have bid on yet so far.
Yeah, and also, you know what? The first sword you mentioned, it's required to use bombos. So it's actually all 4 items required for Ice Palace. So meanwhile, it looks like Amatsu is going to complete Pod with the big key this time. I hope. Okay, he's just going for the crystal switch. And ChopsDiezel has to go back 2 rooms away for the floor to respawn. Getting his Master Sword at 1 hour 23 minutes. So sporting the silvers, Chop's fight against Vitreous will be a little bit easier, as was Amatsu's fight. Looking very close still right now. Getting... Yep. Looks like quite a quick fight on Helmazor King. And the first shot to the head. Kill it. Finally see. That hit it had only 20 bucks for him.
So, Nimban, I just thought of something that could come into play here.
Yep, go ahead.
What if neither of these players realize that you can use Bombos to get through that first room in Ice Palace?
Oh my god. Well, I guess this means they will try to get to Turtle Rock first, and they will clear out everything else in the game.
Yeah, and if Fire Rod were to be in Ice Palace, that would be amazing for us. But man, both of these runners would be pretty tilted at that point in time.
Yeah, but you know what I would think about it? I would just go and, hey, Bombos makes fire. Fire destroy these enemies. But yeah.
Meanwhile, we see Amatsu. Did Amatsu never do a Zora check?
Yep, that's right. That's why he has so much money right now.
Wow, so Amatsu going to be disappointed here shortly. Chops heading up, and he's going to be climbing without the mirror. He's going to have to take the long way, unfortunately, up Death Mountain, up the east side, and then back over, but we'll be able to do it.
Yeah, and just as BBB Pyramid is reminding us, no Zora picture on the tracker means no Zora check.
Yeah, I'm still used to the Zora being on the tracker. I like that. That is nifty.
Yeah, I like it too. So some mild disappointment getting the cape.
Well, in the cape, he's probably thinking, I was like, okay, what does the cape unlock? So he'll be checking something along the lines of Bumper Cave. He might check Spike Cave as well, because that's his first invincibility item. So there's some possibilities that is going through Amatsu's head right now at this point in time.
ChopsDiezel will get his heart container. I don't think he checked the tablet before.
It's okay, Alvi. We understand. And Amatsu's getting his second invincibility item. And finally going to be picking up at least one blue potion.
Just one. I think
Yep.
he's resting on his money a little bit.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me offer you a piece of investment advice. Your money does you no good sitting in your pocket. Make sure to invest your money in high-quality blue potions from the Witch's Hut. This message brought to you by the Witch's Hut.
Thanks for the advertisement.
Amatsu is also going to be flippering over here to check Hobo. So checking a lot of these overworld locations that Chops had already checked earlier.
Yep, I think Amatsu is going to catch up a little bit on these worthless checks that Chops did.
Absolutely, he'll be able to get through. He'll still have to do the pyramid fairy check, but after that he will be all the way through. And Amatsu still hasn't done Eastern Palace, so we can see Amatsu probably heading that direction before too long.
Yeah, I think we totally missed what was on the island. So let's keep the suspense for that.
But Amatsu finally making the dive into Ice Palace. He knows it's a red pendant. He just double-checked on the map.
Let's see, does he know? Yes! So using bombos here can kill the Freezer guy.
Chops, meanwhile, using interesting cape strats for Troll Dorm, so he doesn't get trolled.
I think that Cape just renders Link physically not there anymore.
Yeah, he walked right through Troll Dorm quite a few times, which can't necessarily blame him for. Don't want to waste time getting trolled around here. Looks like Chops is going to be making a very similar play here over to
Yep.
Ice Palace.
They will both be in Ice Palace at the same time.
Oh, Chops has to go check Hobo as well.
And we got a mystery first item in Ice from Amatsu. Was that item some money? Amatsu is back to more than 1,300 rupees.
Yeah, it is quite a few rupees there.
Might have been 300 rupees again.
It was so much cold hard cash it froze his screen. Chops opting, I thought he was going to be doing Ice Palace, but instead he's going a different route. Going to check some of these other locations.
I think he's going for the pet cave and maybe the smithy right after. We know Amatsu check this place already, and didn't get much out of it.
Yep, that is unfortunate for Chops. I still think version 26 has taught us anything. It feels like it prioritizes dungeons over the overworld locations if you have kind of an equal chance of getting an item at some point. So, yeah, I kind of wish Chops would go to a dungeon. But in the meantime, we get to see Amatsu to see if the gamble ends up paying off at any rate. If not, then maybe Chops ends up making the right call here. And Bumper Cave having just a little bit of love here.
So Cape is pretty much useless on this one.
Well, I mean, it has limited uses, certainly.
Still haven't got much of value from Ice.
Not so far, but they're only really looking for one thing of value, and that's the mirror. Although getting either the fire rod or the ice rod would be amazing for our mirror pedestal check.
And Chops is getting to the catfish. He will be disappointed too.
If you're both of these runners at this point in this seed, at an hour 35, do you presume that your runner is having the same difficulty, the other runner is having the same difficulties you are, or do you just feel like you're behind?
I think I would feel I'm behind, just because the mirror can be anywhere, pretty much. And at this point, you just gotta know that this is the go mode item for both of you. So I would be like, wait, what if he made that one play that got him the mirror like 30 minutes before that?
Yeah, that's the problem with only having one or two items for go mode waiting on this. All it takes is that one item, and then you start wondering if it is that one run. Interesting. I still don't think either runner particularly has an advantage over the other at this point in time. Or Chops still has kind of advantage for a little bit, but there's not a lead. There's not a solid lead at all.
Yep, Chops is going to get his heart and a half on the pyramid, and the fire
rod.
Amazing find.
I'm giggling. I'm hoping. I think the hype is real.
Let's get it. Well, at least they will be more comfortable checking Turtle Rock with this. I just hope they find Ice Rod somewhere.
Yep, Fire Rod, Ice Rod. The dream is real, ladies and gentlemen. The dream is real. So with that, Amatsu, has advantage at this point in time, unless Chops ends up finding the mirror. If it's a pedestal seed, like I'm hoping, Amatsu has advantage at this point in time. Yeah, if the fire rod is required, definite advantage at Amatsu. Although I would really hate to do some of those rooms in the Ganon Tower climb with anything else.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. It's so valuable in the gauntlet just because it instant kills the skeletons.
And I think Chops is going to be doing a pedestal check, so we'll have the hype.
Yes, let's get the hype in the chat.
So while we're waiting, here we go. Is it? What is it? Is it gonna be? Just a little piece of
Oh no, the dream is dead.
Ouch. Oh.
Okay, so the next trolley locations for the mirror. Because we want troll. If it's not a pedestal, it will be something else.
Yeah. So now, Ice Rod is still you're still going to have to go to Ice Palace to get the Fire Rod at any rate. It still could be on Sahasrahla, for example. So you're going to need the Fire Rod in order to get past what you need in Skullwoods.
Or it could also be in the lunchbox that both of the runners skipped.
Could be here.
Dalphon getting us quite a troll scenario with the shovel in Mimic Cave, the ice rod in the date spot, and next with the mirror. No, that cannot happen because you need the mirror to get in the Mimic Cave.
Yep, I always say that randomizer community is great at coming up with the seeds that we never, ever, ever want to see, and then convincing ourselves that that's not the seed we have when we do get it.
Yeah, but I think being in the randomizer community means we love puzzles. So these are all giant puzzles.
Absolutely. Chop's getting trolled here a little bit here by these jellies. And Amatsu's back, yay!
Going in Eastern Palace.
Wait for a menu pause to see what happens, but I think he's already cleared out most of here.
Yeah, he was just going for the boss when Ice Palace froze the stream. Because that's
Cold
an
Stare
entire
has
fight.
some.
Blame Cold Stare.
I do nothing but.
ChopsDiezel showing us some nice dashing on ice.
And all I know is Amatsu does not have the mirror. So boss didn't drop our go mode item.
Did he have the Ice Palace pendant? I didn't notice I didn't check on his pose menu.
I didn't
If
happen to
they-
check either. I only checked to see if he had the mirror or the ice rod, because I'm evil like that, but did not check for that other item. Who 42 Baker
Yep.
just posted he did beat Ice Palace, so okay.
That's great. Unfortunate we could not see the fight, but we're seeing a very quick, almost night one.
Absolutely. So that'll be another crystal. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Still looking for that mirror, and we might end up having to do a dive into Turtle Rock, which would be a little bit crazy here.
Yep, and meanwhile Chops just got his fire rod. Still the mirror shy, but maybe we'll go into Turtle Rock too.
We'll see. I'm not sure. Oh, he might be checking Bombo's tablet over here. Oh, but he won't be able to
Nope.
without the mirror. Fallen Prophet, no. Green Pendant is actually on Swamp Palace. They've gotten the 2 item, not Swamp Palace, Skullwoods. So they've gotten the 2 items from Skullwoods already. So that is another possible play, is getting into Skullwoods to get the Green Pendant if you're hesitant to go up Turtle Rock.
Also, they did go in the Pyramid Ferry, which only had half a heart. Now I wonder where Amatsu is going.
I'm not entirely sure at this point in time.
I thought they checked the catfish.
I'm pretty sure he did, to be perfectly honest. So let's get a poll in chat. Which would you rather see? Because we're kind of out of the pedestal hype is dead, but would you rather see Mirror behind the green pendant in Sahasrara, and that green pendant is in Skullwoods, or would you rather them dive into Turtle Rock? What play would you make, Ninban?
Me, it would be Ice Rod on Shahashalas and Mirror on Trinex. But speaking of plays, I would do Skullwoods first, I think.
Yeah, I think I would make the play too, although Amatsu, I think, has extra reason because he hasn't done a pedestal check yet. So he has kind of one more reason to check that because he can go and check the pedestal while doing Skullwoods. Or no, he can't because he doesn't have mirror. Right. It's amazing how used to just having mirror you are when you're planning your routing.
Definitely. Chops getting a real nice fight out of codes there. So
Absolutely.
getting his pendant too.
So at this point, advantage back to Chops because Amatsu checked some of those overworld locations and may have been just a little bit lost wandering around. Meanwhile, we'll see where Chops decides to go next. Yes, Chaos Lord, trying to do Mothula with no sword is worse. However, we saw that pay off for a couple runners last night. And Amatsu gets confirmation, nope, no pedestal seed required here. Chops making the play looks like up to Turtle Rock. So interesting, he's making the gamble that the green pendant is a ruse.
The green pendant could be a red herring. Also
I see
for
what you
the
did there.
also for the chat, they checked the Aether tablet, which had a heart container, and they cannot check Bombos without the mirror, so we know it's not there.
There's a lot of treasure chests that are open and available in Turtle Rock, so this is probably a higher percentage play. However, getting that fire rod does seem to point towards the Skull Woods. We'll see. And Amatsu gonna make the same play, it looks like. So, interesting. Or not? Oh, gonna make the Spike Cave check first.
Yep. I think they will be right on each other's tail. The big key. Yep, Amatsu definitely going for the Spike Cave.
Yep. And Chops is working his way through Turtle Rock. Happy he got the fire rod here to be able to check these treasure chests on his way. And with the key placement, it looks like it was going to be required to get for the fire rod.
Yeah, definitely. Especially with finding 2 keys in there.
Chat is being trolly and saying, "Oh, it's been the bat the entire time," and both of these runners are forgetting it.
That could be something.
It could be Amatsu fluting and checking.
Going for the bat?
No, gonna go to Skull Woods, looks like. Skull Woods
Oh.
or Gary's lunchbox. We don't know. He's heading to Dark World, though. There we go. The better boomerang. The red boomerang for Chops.
Yep. Or the Radarang, as the chat is calling it.
Bestarang, more like it.
When it's used correctly, it does not like the game.
Dalfin pointing out the bat never had anything good, except for when it hit, which is true.
Amatsu burning these minimal domes. And I think Chops just found his red mail, seeing as his Darkling now has red eyes.
It certainly looks like it, yep. Meanwhile, we're not going to be able to get a Mimic Cave check, unfortunately, because, again, mirror required. Matsu's struggling a little bit here with the room. Oh, I approve.
Yeah.
Shout out to Alvi with the little mirror symbol in the middle.
That's amazing. Thanks, Alvi. Alvi, who is, as I remind you all, our restreamer.
Doing all the technical work behind the scenes with, of course, Kermit, or BBB Kermit, doing our tracking. So both people doing the work while we get to sit here and just talk to you. We make it look easy.
Not a worry in the world. For us.
Flashing effect for the mirror. Wow, you've really outdone yourself today, sir.
And meanwhile, Amatsu just did a really good Motsula fight. Got his Dream Pendant, which I suppose he's gonna check right now.
Yep, no reason to do that if you're not immediately going to go turn it in. So this could be big. If it ends up being here, advantage of Matsu. In the meantime, Chops is coming up on the laser bridge. The logic requires either the mirror shield or an invincibility item, and he does have the invincibility item, so he...
Green
Magic!
goo.
Hey, that's great timing for the green goo. And Amatsu just with a bomb capacity upgrade.
Oh. Is Turtle Rock the good play?
It might be. Compass! This has got to be something. Mirror! Oh, literally the last chest. Oh.
Wow.
And Chops saving quitting, running out of here. Chops is officially in go mode.
That's amazing. And he needed that fire rod from Ice Palace to go there.
Absolutely. He's gonna. Looks like he's checking Mimic Cave here real quick because, you know, he has Master Sword at the moment. So I'm sure he would like to see a Tempered Sword.
Yeah, I think I would do it too. Being there and all.
If you're right here, absolutely. Meanwhile, Amatsu's on his way up and will be heading towards Turtle Rock. Chops is officially in go mode if he heads down to Swamp Palace.
Oh, yeah, that's right. They still need to do Swamp Palace. I was thinking he would just go right to Ganon's Tower.
Nope. He needs to go down to Swamp, and he's fluting away now.
At least it's a go mode swamp, so it will be very fast. For both our runners to do.
Absolutely. He will likely check a few of the easy chests to check along the way, hoping for a sword upgrade because, let's face it, Master Sword Ganon still sucks, even with silvers. 24 spins is not an easy time for anyone, so he'll probably be hoping for a tempered along the way. However, he's not going to go out of his way to get, for example, left side swamp.
Oh, definitely not.
So, ladies and gentlemen in the class, if you had learned anything today, it is that Pendant Turtle Rock means do your pendant dungeon, please.
And go to Ice first.
And go to Ice Palace first. Yeah, they got Fire Rod there. So Chops making his way through Swamp Palace. We'll see if he full go modes this. And yep, skipping the treasure chests that aren't needed, that aren't easily accessible. Amatsu is going to be working his way through. Chops definitely in the lead at this point in time.
So I have a quick question for you. So
Shoot.
let's say you have the Master Sword, and you find the big key of Ganon's Tower behind the Ice Armos fight. Would you check the big key chest for another sword?
It depends. If I were in this race, probably not, because I feel like I've been trolled and I'm probably behind. If I've had some sort of feeling, if I made some gambles and I felt like I was ahead, I might make that check. But really, that's the gut feeling that I would check at that point in time. Particularly if I still had Master Sword. My God. Chops making his way through. Amatsu is also going through T-Rock here.
Matsu will get his red mail very soon, which will help him survive the rest of the game.
We have seen quite a few deaths here, and so red mail is one of those items that will definitely help Amatsu through here. It's helping ChopsDiezel up to this point in time, and Chops
Tempered.
finds the tempered in one of those easy chests, so he'll be go moding the rest of this. He's not even going to worry about much else.
Yep, not even checking this invisible chest in there.
So we'll see ChopsDiezel make his way over to Argus, which should be a pretty quick fight. Won't have to double slash these. He'll be able to single slash and make pretty quick work. Chops using spin strats on Argus.
Missing the final hit, but getting it right after.
And Chops with his 7th and final crystal. And ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to direct your attention to a little game we here at Speed Gaming and Randomizer Mania like to play. There are 22 chess locations in Ganon's Tower. Which location is going to have the big key to advance the runners? 1 through 22. Get your guesses in chat. Ninban, where would you like to guess?
Let's say I want it to be in the Bob's chest.
You know, it's been a while since I've seen a Bob's chest big key. I approve. I think this seed has been sufficiently trolly. I'm going to guess the fire bar room. So if they use traditional routing, that's going to be, what, the 8th chest? But we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on where these runners field, it may end up being kind of a long one. But that chest in the fire bar room.
It's an interesting one too. Or maybe they'll go Dark Magician route. We never know.
We do not know, and that's part of the beauty of it all. So Chop's making his way up. Amatsu is getting a little bit lost here.
Yeah. At least he's using his cape efficiently.
Absolutely.
Not die there.
You know, it took me a long time to realize that those Lionels at the top of Death Mountain here are supposed to be the same Lionels that are in Breath of the Wild that absolutely crush me.
Yeah. Same Rhinos, different games. They're way deadlier in Breath of the Wild.
Yep. So Chop's starting off on the right side. Going to see if there's any keys here and maybe make a determination based on that.
First key, so it may mean they're going right side, but no.
Nope, they're doing the more traditional routing there. $50 rupees, so Bob lives for now.
And Amatsu also in go mode, having found his mirror on Laser Bridge.
And ChopsDiezel gets through 7, so we'll see. Numbers 1 through 7, you're already out. We'll see what else is left.
We're coming to your prediction, the fireball room.
Drum roll, we'll see. No, just the compass. It's worthless.
Yeah, for those in the chat asking, the pedestal was only a piece of heart.
Matsu looks like he's checking more chests, so he's probably also... Oh, forgetting that there's a key over here.
Meanwhile, Chops is getting every key in Ganon's tower.
So Matsu's making his way through here while Chops is still on his way doing this horribly, horribly trolly warp room. Matsu also forgetting that there was the key there, so ended up having to backpedal a little bit.
Yeah, it's common to forget it when you're beginning with Randomizer.
Takes a little bit of time. Here's your check, Bob's chest, and he kills Bob!
Yeah!
And the big key!
No, he didn't kill
Well
Bob.
done!
That was... did Bob's soul transfer to another anti-fairy? Because I saw Bob in the room.
Either way, you ended up calling it,
Yep.
my friend. Well done!
Right, I knew everything about the seed beforehand. No, that's just a joke.
I was going to say, you knew everything about the seed beforehand, and yet told them to do Skull Woods before they did Turtle Rock, huh?
Yeah, well, I just want to troll, obviously. I'm not the
It's
one
all right.
running.
Chops making his way through this gauntlet now. Amatsu is getting ready for his Argus fight.
Unfortunately, he didn't stop to get the Temper Sword, so he will be doing this with Master.
That's going to be a little bit rough there for Amatsu. I don't know how well he does Master Sword Ganon. At least he has the silver, so it's just going to be a long fight, and he just has to survive. Chops making the skeleton dance there for a little bit. 5 or 6 slashes.
I was gonna say the same thing.
And keep in mind, Chops did have... Remember, he picked up those 3 blue pots that Amatsu is running without any potions at the moment.
Oh yeah, definitely an advantage here too.
Beyond the obvious lead that Chops has at this point in time, those potions will mean that he has plenty of safety, that I'm not going to say he doesn't have to worry about dying, but he has a lot more opportunities to save himself than Amatsu does. And when you do things like dash right into spikes, you might need it.
Yeah, at this point, cape is a good choice.
Burn down your magic. I might even... Oh, he can anti-ferret get this. So Amatsu is also climbing Death Mountain, going to stop and get some health here. He's full health. Nice
And
one cycle by Chops.
Look at this. One cycle, Landmo 2. Amatsu getting trolled by these dead rocks.
These
Both
dead
of
rocks
them.
are the most annoying enemies in the game, and I hope they never take them out. Chops struggling a little bit with this room. If you don't line it up the first time, that room can be a little bit difficult. Meanwhile, dashing through here.
Amatsu not even going for the hookshot clip now, or even the mirror eraser.
Just doing it the old-fashioned way, huh?
And going around, it seems.
All right. Chops on his way. He's got plenty of keys. He won't have to stop and worry about anything at this point. Just bypass it all.
And 3 keys at this point. He really got pretty much all of them.
Karnath is asking, was this a trolley seed? It had its troll elements. The very last item they ended up getting was the mirror, so they couldn't do a whole lot of the mirror items. So navigation was difficult, kind of all around. Other things, for example, key items being in Skull Woods, you had both the lamp and the flute, and then the fire rod was absolutely in Ice Palace, which was required to get the mirror, which was in Turtle Rock. So yeah, I think it's fair to say this was a relatively trolley seed. They definitely made them do their pendant dungeons. And the last chest in the game, just a little bit of love here.
Yep, it's also called the validation chest by the community because it cannot contain anything you need to beat the game except the Master Sword.
Yeah, if you've gone this far without Master Sword, it could very well be there. But
let's just not mention it anymore so it doesn't happen.
so if you're both these runners, you don't see a dot done yet at 214. What are your thoughts at this point for both of these guys?
I'm thinking they're right behind me, obviously. Or maybe right ahead of me, but I'm thinking we are very close in any way.
So Chops finishing off.
Increasing his bone counter.
I mean, the higher numbers are better at the end of the game, right?
Yeah, right. That's how you're supposed to play games. Just get those numbers even higher.
Makes sense to me. Chops starting off his Ganon fight with Tempered Sword. Amatsu's still climbing Ganon's tower, though. And I really like this, using safety strats with the cape. These bats, doesn't matter what kind of health you have or armor, hurts. So he gets a nice one cycle there.
Yep. It's pretty much the only way to get a one cycle unless you have a nice spot on Ganon or get very good with avoiding the bats.
Meanwhile, Amatsu's going to be following the same route. I'm glad to see he's not dipping right side early, for example. That might be a little bit disastrous for him.
Unfortunately, Chops cannot get the Torch Lich at this point. But he has a nice position here.
Oh, he could have gotten 3, but he did get the double at least.
Yep, he's one shot away from winning the game.
And explosions! Well done, ChopsDiezel.
Well done.
And we'll wait for him to go through the door here, but his official SRL time is at 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 18 seconds. Well done, ChopsDizzle.
GG.
And while we're waiting on him to come on in, I'm just going to state this right now. This sets us up for a 3-way tie for the second seed coming out of Group P between Hacksaw, Serbeat Eravars, and ChopsDizzle, all 3 sitting at 2-2 coming out of Group P. So we're going to have to set ourselves up a 3-way race here. Get hyped for that.
Definitely, and this is for second place. So there will be one of them who goes to the next stage and 2 of them for whom this will be the last race in the tournament.
Meanwhile, Amatsu's on his way, got the big key, and is diving through Turtle Rock here. Even though he sees the dot done, still making the effort to complete the game. He's so close, might as well. GG amatsudf on that one. And while you guys are at it, both ChopsDizzle and amatsudf, give them your love. Give them a follow here on Twitch if you haven't already. In the meantime, I believe we have Chops with us. GG, my sir.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Just fine.
All
How you
right.
feeling?
I was so nervous until I realized that we were going ice and then we were going Turtle Rock. I was so worried that I missed a spot where that mirror was, and I was waiting for the dot done from my opponent like the whole way.
This was kind of a do or die race for you. Did you, if you would have lost here, it would have set up kind of the tiebreaker between Serbeat Eravars and Hacksaw, but this sets up the 3-way. So did you change your strategies at all based on that?
Yeah, I took a lot less gambles. I know my I don't know how to pronounce his name, Amatsu. I know he's pretty new to Randomizer, so I knew my knowledge would be my biggest advantage. So I just didn't take any chances. I mean, I did take some really lousy deaths, but...
So I know kind of the big thing that was going on in chat, and they were giving both you and Amatsu a little bit of flack for it, is Thieves Town sets you up almost perfectly for Ice Palace, because you had the Titan's Mitt, the Flippers, the Bombos, which let you in, and then also your first sword to use Bombos. But it was so long before either of you actually went in there.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't know. I guess I'm pretty bad at. Well, first of all, it's Ice Palace. I hate Ice Palace. And second of all, I try to not go into any pendant dungeons unless I absolutely have to. I'd rather do. Well, I go where all the loot is. I'll go to the main places where I can get the most amount of loot before I have to dip into a dungeon, a pendant dungeon that's especially ice. But I mean, I went into Skull Woods, got 2 great items there. That was fast, but yeah.
Was there ever a point where you had kind of, there's always a point where if there's a mistake made or you realize there's a routing decision that you made that wasn't panning out, that you said, okay, I am absolutely behind now. I have to get myself in gear. Was there ever a point that you had that?
I had 1 point of that, and then 1 point of reassurance. The point where I felt behind was my death to Helmasaur, and then going to ice before going to Turtle Rock, because I know Fire Rod was in ice, but I thought about going to Turtle Rock first. Maybe there would have been a little key in that first room on the left to let me bypass that Fire Rod room. So I didn't take the chance. I'm just like, I'll just go to ice. Who knows? Maybe Fire Rod will be there. I thought Mirror was going to be there for sure. And yeah, when I died to Helmasaur, I thought for sure I was behind. And then I left. I'm just like, screw this place. I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah. And we saw you check the pedestal. What was going on in your mind at that time?
That was my heart was like, oh please, Lord, no. I mean, like, I might as well check it now, because if I'm up here, I could quick do Skull Woods, and I mean, a lot of things ran through my mind before. I don't know if I did that before Ice. I must have did that before Ice. I just didn't want to go on Ice Palace in the worst way.
I'm not going to lie, I was absolutely rooting for a mirror on the pedestal seed, because it looked like it was going to be there for a while.
Yeah, I was. When I was on the mirror bridge, I'm just like, come on, the mirror's got to be here. And I got through the 3rd chest and was like, oh man, where do I go if it's not here? I don't think there's any place I didn't check. Well, I guess I didn't check the tablets. But no, I did check one. I couldn't get to the other one.
Yeah, because you didn't have the mirror. Mm-hmm. So,
I think pretty much the only place nobody checked is the Bat Cave and the Lunchbox.
Oh yeah, I guess. Well, you can't do the Lunchbox until you do the Smiths, right?
Right, but you can do both without the mirror.
Yeah, but you need... Oh yeah, that's right, you don't need the mirror to do the Smiths. Oh, wow, that would have sucked. I forgot completely about that.
Yeah, that could have been interesting. That might have made the difference, but luckily, it's all right. So let's see, what other things? Yeah, I had the Helmasaur fight, death. Looks like it was there. All 4 items pointing you to Ice Palace, and Ice Palace eventually being the key to go there. It felt like there were a couple times when you were trying to wait out Eastern Palace and Pod to combo them with the mirror, but the mirror just told you.
Yeah, I did do that. Yeah, I'm like, I'll go back to them later. I can mirror them both, and same thing with Meyer and Desert Palace. And then I just, it's got to be in one of these places,
We're seeing Amatsu going on the Ganon's fight right now.
Now, he's actually doing it Master Sword. He did not pick up that Tempered Sword that was in that extra chest in Swamp Palace. It looked like you were just trying to pull those extra chests looking for a Tempered Sword, weren't you?
Yeah, when I first got the mirror, I'm like, oh, do I strictly go mode Swamp, or do I, take a look at a couple chests? I skipped the first one, and then I went past the big chest. Obviously, I couldn't open it. And then I'm like, I could check these 3 really fast on my way to what's his face, Argus or whatever. And when I got that tempered, I'm just like, whew, all right, we're good.
Oh my god, that dodge.
Yeah, he's
Nice.
doing pretty good, and he takes a death, unfortunately. Another question: was that the same logic that you'd use when you were trying to get through that mimic cave there? Once you left,
Yeah. I was right there. I'm like, I'm right here. I mean, it should have taken me 4 seconds to check, but I struggled a little bit. Yeah, as soon as I got the mirror, I'm just like, oh crap, I only have Master Sword. I would feel really comfortable if I had tempered. Who knows? They're probably both in Ganon's Tower. I've had that already, so I'm like, I'll just check it. I got 10 more seconds.
Yeah, I definitely agree with this choice to check Mimic Cave.
Yep, absolutely. So, while we're waiting on Amatsu here, do you have any thoughts, kind of just on the overall tournament direction, how it's been? You know, is this your first tourney experience? What's your thoughts on overall play here?
Yeah, this is my first tournament. I caught wind of the tournament last year or this spring. I follow one of the guys, Dodecahedron, and I saw that he was in the tournament last year, and I was just hooked. Like, this is my favorite game of all time, and I never would have thought that we could get this much replay value out of this game. And as soon as they were starting another tournament, I'm like, oh, I'm definitely in practicing. I don't practice as much as I want to, but I mean, you got to put some time aside for 2 hours, or in my case, like 2 hours and 15 minutes a run.
No, but I mean, you know, for only just picking up Randomizer, I'm kind of in the same boat as you. I'll be honest, I did not pick up Randomizer until I saw the summer tournament and things were getting down to the final stages, and that's when I started picking it up, and still hunting for that elusive sub 2 hour run. But it's been an amazing feel for the tournament so far, and I love this community. Shout out to chat, by the way. You guys have been really amazing this run.
Yeah, this community is amazing. I also started this summer with Randomizer, so this is also my first tournament, and it's amazing so far.
Yeah, I'm just excited for that 3-way tiebreaker.
So if I'm going through, your other win was against which of the other two here?
Hacksaw.
Hacksaw. So if I'm reading it right, you beat Hacksaw. Hacksaw beat Serbitor Vars, and Serbitor Vars beat you.
Correct. Yeah, and then Raspberry Floof beat everybody, and then Amatsu lost everybody. But yeah, my win against Hacksaw was a total fluke. I beat him by like 2.5 minutes, and he had to do Master Sword, Silverless Ganon, and I had Tempered and Silvers. So I came like roaring back while he was doing his 24 spins, and I should not have won that match. So I'm just happy to be here.
Well, that's Rando for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And he checked so many more things. And for some reason, he skipped one chest that had Tempered, and I don't remember where the silvers were, but yeah, that was crazy. And we didn't restream that one, but that's okay. It was a really good race.
Oh, you got restreamed here to get you into the 3-way play-in, so good luck to yourself, Chops.
Yeah, very excited.
Yep. And the 3-way is definitely gonna get restreamed, I hope.
I would assume so, yeah.
These races will be so exciting to watch, including yours.
Yeah.
In the meantime, chat, again, shout out to Chops. If you haven't given him a follow yet on Twitch, please do give him a follow, as well as amatsudf. Both of these runners, gladiators fighting for our entertainment. They deserve at least a follow for you. Also, shout out to Alvi, our restreamer, doing lots of work, especially with the little the mirror icon that he put in the middle there. Well done. I like that initiative, Alvi. And also to BBB Kermit. I will not do my Kermit impression and hurt people's ears again.
Also, now that you said gladiator earlier, I'm just thinking this is a gladiator fight between Link and Ganon. They're both thrown in the ring, no exit, and they must fight to the death.
Now Amatsu's getting past that weird fire bat round. Now he's getting trolled by teleporting Ganon. Oh, this is nice.
And we're on to the final phase of the fight right now. Missing the Torch Lich.
Now by getting one good shot on Ganon, all right. And now time for torches again.
That was a good damage boost. I don't think it was intentional, but
Hey, whatever
nice.
works. Matsu going through here, and he might... Is he about done? Feels like he's trying to do swordless strats. Or silverless strats.
yeah, I think he's just missing his timings.
There we go. And
All right.
explosions. AmatsuDF with the win, or with the completion of Ganon anyway. About 15 minutes behind Chops in the meantime. And he enters with an official SRL time of 2 hours, 32 minutes, and 31 seconds. So GG Amatsu for sticking through that.
Thank you, your quest is over.
And we'll get Amatsu in here. And Chops, I'm going to apologize while I have you here. I think I pronounced your name both as ChopsDiezel and ChopsDizzle like throughout the entire race. So I
Oh, yeah, either of
apologies
those is
there.
fine. Yeah, either of those is fine.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Amatsu. GG. How
Hello.
you feeling?
A little rough, like I lost, but it was fun. I swear I learned something new every single time I run this.
Oh yeah, what did you learn this time?
Do the exact opposite of what I'm thinking I should be doing. Every time, without fail.
That's just rando.
So
Yeah. I think what caused me to lose that this time was I died a whole bunch. And then I misread what... Like, I figured the mirror has to be somewhere, and I kept picking all the wrong locations, trying to avoid going to Turtle Rock.
I was gonna say, I think you had advantage. You actually dipped into Ice Palace first, which we pointed out in chat here that Thieves Town had all 4 items necessary for you to go to Ice Palace. You had your first sword there, and bombos to help you get through there, flippers, and the Titan's Mitt. So everyone in chat was just screaming for someone to go to Ice Palace, and you made the dive first.
Clearly, their energy reached out to me. Because I usually hate going to Ice Palace and will avoid it at all costs.
Yeah, the issue came in is that after Ice Palace, you searched just about everything you possibly could to not do Turtle Rock.
Did Chops find any other sword upgrades other from the Master Sword?
Yeah, I found a tempered sword in
Oh.
Swamp Palace. Right
Oh.
after the big chest, when you flip the switch, you go south. Those two chests. There was one there.
Oh. I don't even go near that spot. Because at
Yeah.
that point I was in go mode. I'm like, he hasn't done yet. I have a chance. Let's rush everything down.
Yeah, it was
I don't think I was that far behind you. The deaths are what set me back more than anything.
I mean, you were the deaths were there, absolutely, but yeah, I really think it was that routing. And once you got into Turtle Rock and saw that mirror, it was just game over.
Yeah.
All things considered, it was a pretty close race. The other thing that I was a little bit concerned about, it felt like you were hoarding rupees there for a while when you could have stocked up on a bunch of blue potions.
Yeah, I forgot to go there so many times, and when Ganon kicked my butt, I was like, okay, let's go stock up on some good old blue goo. Because I haven't really practiced Master Sword Ganon at all.
No, and that's fine. You had some pretty impressive fire bat dodges there for a few times.
Yeah,
so.
I like that in the first match, how my spin attack knocked me away from him. That was good.
Absolutely. So I got to ask you while we're wrapping up here, you finish 0-4, but this sets up a 3-way match. Are we going to get you and, because Chops, Hacksaw, and Sir Beater of Ars are all 2-2 now. So
that's awesome.
They are. So I'm thinking we're going to try to recruit you to do that secondary Group P commentary. Just letting you know.
I would love to. As long as it's on a day that's not Saturday, it's pretty much good for me.
Just saying. It's in the cards.
Yeah, the guy who lost every match commentating for everyone that beat him. That's an interesting angle.
Hey, you can provide some interesting insights
of what not to do.
Yeah, but it's also interesting.
It was fun.
Your past opponents and seeing them all race against each other.
That should be interesting to see what choices they make.
Absolutely, but looks like that we're going to need to wrap it up here. There's some other races that are going on. So
what race is coming up next?
Well, let me pull it up here. The race that actually was supposed to be on this channel, on Randomizer 2, got pushed over to Randomizer 4, and that is Akash N versus Magnon 17. That could also set up another 3-way tie in their Group R.
There's a lot of ties happening, isn't there? Like, I'm impressed.
There is, and that just speaks to kind of how much learning there's going on in the community. I think as we see this tournament progress on, we're seeing people learn new strategies, get new feels, learn new routings, finally learning to check Skullwoods early, things like that.
And not forgetting to check the Chain Chop chest in Turtle Rock. Like, that one's important,
It absolutely. But we still have a few more races. Let me see. The Akash and Magnon one is going on. We have Maniacal and Tater Shaman, along with JTB and Cerberoth on Randomizer Mania 1. It's going to be a quad race going on. Ooh. So that ought to be pretty hype, and that's going to start here before too long.
And what channel's that on?
That's on Randomizer Mania, the original.
Yes, and if JTB wins, it forces a 3-way race-off too, for his loop.
Oh my gosh.
So many 3-way races.
Also here, just over on the main tournament, what just kicked off on Speed Gaming 2, we have Space Cowboys 2011 versus Rezifos. Also here starting in a... No, that one's started a little bit ago and just started is Monty 85 versus the other Andy, AND4H. Then we have another quad at 10 o'clock Eastern here in the name of DT versus Faraim and then JSR2 Gamers versus Spooty Biscuit on Speed Gaming Original. So we just
That's a
have
lot of
so
runs.
much racing yet to go tonight. It's a randomizer
Like,
mania.
I think there's like less than 20 races between both of them to go at this point. Like, this is the last week. It's all exciting. At least for a secondary tournament, I think.
Well, we're getting ready to
Well,
head to the big, March Madness sort of bracket single elimination tournament. So we're still going to be hyped for these. So still lots of randomizer. This tournament is still going to go on. We've been going on for a month. Does that make any sense to you guys?
It's amazing, and it will not end until I think mid-December.
Until there's only one person left standing.
That too.
All right.
Yeah.
With that said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here just to
Thank you for
sign off
commentating.
here. Oh, our pleasure. Absolutely. One more shout out to ChopsDiezel and amatsudf. Give these runners a follow. Also, Alvi, our restreamer, BBB Kermit, our wonderful tracker, my co-host, Ninban. Thank you guys so much.
And also a
Follow
shout
the
out to you,
commentators too.
Vitasia.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And thank you, everyone else. Get going. There's lots more randomizer. What do you do listening to us? Go watch some
Yes.
randomizer here. And we'll see you all later.
Watch whatever channel has a race going.
All right, thanks again, guys. See ya.
See ya.